Alright guys, here's a little help on this worksheet. This compound inequalities number 1. Those first 6 are just giving you a graph, kind of like the IXLs we did, giving you a graph and you got to write the compound inequality. It may be helpful to go through too and just kind of pick out which type each case is right away. So as you're looking at number 1 right there, and you see it's got endpoints it's kind of like a line segment, right? It's got endpoints and a shade in the middle. So maybe just make a note to yourself, well, this is an AND case. Okay, maybe you go through and mark which ones are ANDs. And I think number 2 is like an OR. So if that helps you, you could definitely do that. And then as you go through, going back to number 1. So again, when you're making the AND cases, it looks just like the graph, okay? 4 is the lower boundary and 8's the upper boundary. Put a 4 right below it and 8 right below the 8. The solutions are all in the middle, X. And then again, your alligators, your sines, they always face the same way. And if the bigger number's on the right, like here, alligator always beats the biggest number, right? So it'll look like this. And you want lines underneath both of them because they're both closed circles. There's your AND compound inequality. If you're looking at one of the OR cases, okay, it's almost just like writing 2 separate inequalities. Look at this part of the graph. That looks like X is less than -3. And then use the word OR in the middle because it's a compound inequality. And on the right side, looking at this part of the graph, it's X is greater than 0. And there's your OR compound inequality just by writing the 2 different little inequalities that you see on each half of the graph. Okay, so there's a little reminder how to do those. Okay, the 1 through 6 section. Okay, going down to the 9 through 12 section here, where now you're going to solve the compound inequality and then graph it on the grid below. 7 and 8, I'm going to kind of leave to you. This is an AND case, an OR case. There isn't as much to do there, but do check on number 8. I guess I would say that. Take a look. It says 2x is greater than 18 right there, so you are going to have to divide both sides by 2. Okay, I want to jump to one of those ones where you have to solve the, like number 9. So number 9, like we did in the lesson 2. If you haven't watched the lesson video already, definitely do that because I go through some of these exact problems if you're still having trouble on them. But just like equations and just like inequalities from the past, I draw a line on my signs. In this case, I got 2 inequality signs, so I draw 2 lines. I've got 3 sections here for this problem. So whatever I do to the middle section to start solving for x, I'm just going to have to do to all 3 sections when I've got 3 sections of the problem like this. So now I got 2x minus 7, so I'm going to add 7 to all 3 sections. Okay, add 7, add 7, add 7. In the middle, just like we're used to, that cancels out the 7's there, so I'm getting closer to my answer, closer to this being solved. So 2x is in the middle. That's less than 26 is over here, and over here I've got 14. Then I divide all sections by 2. Again, every single one of them. So I get 7 is less than x, which is less than 13. There's my AND compound inequality. I'm going to put those numbers on the number line. I can fill in some other ones too, but again, I'm saving time for the video here. It looks like it's an open circle on both of them, and I would shade in between because it's my AND compound inequality case. Okay. Good. I'm going to jump maybe over to the OR compound inequality case over here. So number 10. Remember the OR cases, you just solve each little problem individually. So you solve this one, 3x is less than -12. And then after that, you're going to solve this one, x minus 4 is greater than -2. So I'm just going to solve each one separately. This one looks like I divide both sides by 3 first. So x is less than -4. Or, and then my other inequality, I have to add 4 to both sides. X is greater than 2. So there's my 2 inequalities for my OR compound case. X is less than -4, so I'll put -4 here, open circle, shade to the left. And then x is greater than 2, so I'll put 2 over here, open circle for this case as well, and shade to the right. There's my OR compound inequality case. Okay, so there's some help on some of those. I'll help you on the back side now as well. Okay, these problems on the back sides, you're going to write compound inequalities, either an AND case or an OR case, depending on what they're describing, and then make a little graph for it. I know I don't have the little graph number line there, but you can make just a small one and make a little graph for what it represents. Okay, so take a look at number 13. Look at that one first as an example. The minimum speed on the highway is 40 miles per hour, and the maximum speed is 60 miles per hour. So I think what it's trying to describe here is the speeds that we could possibly drive our car, right, or our truck, or whatever we're driving down the highway. You want to go a minimum of 40 miles per hour, but the max is 60. So I got to kind of stay in between those, right? which case kind of talks about being in between. That's the and case, right? Our answers are usually in between the numbers we're talking about. 40 is the lowest I could go. Remember how the inequality cases look like. The lowest numbers over on the left, the highest numbers on the right, the 60. My solutions, the numbers I'm talking about, the speeds I could drive are in the middle of that. And then I'm going to put my alligators in there, and let's see, can I drive 40 miles per hour? It says the minimum speed is 40 miles per hour. So, yep, I feel like I'm going to have the line underneath it in this case, okay? And the max speed is 60. That means I could go 60. I just can't go 61. So, yep, this one's going to be a less than or equal to as well. And so there's my compound inequality. It's the and case. And then just off to the side, again, you can make just a little number line and put maybe numbers like 40 and 60 on. If you want to put 50 in the middle or some other numbers too, that's definitely a good thing. I'd close circle on 40 and 60. And again, this situation seems like I'm talking about all the speeds I can go that are in between 40 and 60, including those two numbers. So there's my graph for that case, okay? All right, look at the next one, and then I'll leave 15 and 16 to you. But the next one, the temperature inside a room is uncomfortable if the temperature is lower than 60 or higher than 75, okay? So it looks like they're looking for the uncomfortable temperatures, and it kind of is the word or in there might even kind of be a giveaway. This is going to be an or case. So if the temperature is lower than 60, okay, well, start with your variable, okay, when you're writing one of these small inequalities. And if I want it to be lower than 60, that's less than 60, correct? So x is less than 60. Or the other uncomfortable temperatures if it's higher than 75. So if the temperature is higher than 75 degrees, there's your or compound inequality. It's just two little inequalities by themselves, okay? And now I'm going to graph that one, make a quick sketch of it. We said it's going to get lower than 60, higher than 75, okay? I didn't talk about it too much, but I think judging by what it's saying, they're lower than 60. So it's not saying 60 degrees, it's saying lower than. So that's why I've got the open circle and then just the less than sign when I made the inequality. I believe that seems right for that situation. And then if the temperature is higher than 75, it's not saying if it's equal to or on 75. Nope, it's saying it has to be higher. So again, I'd say that's an open circle on 75 and then shade degrees that are higher because that's where it's uncomfortable. Okay? There's some help on those. I'll leave 15 and 16 to you. But now just looking at 17 and 18 really briefly, giving you a little hint in terms of at least where to look for where the error analysis or the errors are for these problems. As you look at that number 17, I definitely think it happened in these last couple steps there with just some of the flipping and the dividing by the negative and things they have to do. So just keep an eye on down there and what's going on and with their graph as well. What happened when they were graphing it, what happened with their answer in particular. I really should point out what happened with their final answer, okay, and their graph. So check that out. There's some kind of something going on in there. Maybe you can spot that, okay. Oh, actually, no, as I see it now, I would call the error the fact that they didn't flip it around, but actually as I look at it, it looks like that is the correct graph, okay? I'm seeing it now here as I'm going through. I can spot that the error is actually in the top steps up here. In the first two steps, they made a mistake, okay? So take a look there. It's an and compound inequality. What should they do first? And then there's a mistake when in doing that first step. There's something they missed, okay? That's the mistake. Okay, I was looking at this thinking this was the mistake, but again, that is still right. You can write it that way. That's just not how we're used to seeing it. Usually we put the lower number on the left, okay? But as I look at what they have there, it is still okay for the graph. The mistake's in the first part. And then on the second one, as I look at that second one, I think it's definitely something with, take a look at their answer, and again, now this one for sure, their graph. There's something going on there. Maybe you can spot it already as you look at what their answer is and what they did for the graph. Okay? All right, you guys, good luck. If you still need help, Zoom me or email me, and I definitely will help you out. Okay?